I want to help you get out of back pain. If you currently have low back pain, that could be the literal bane of your existence. They're with you every day, holding you back from things you want to do and literally ruining your life. I was there. I was nearly paralyzed. I had this accident in the gym where I was doing deadlift workout. My back got so compressed. This was slowly happening over time. I didn't know this, but it culminated in doing this deadlift workout. Nerve got trapped and I was essentially paralyzed for about 20 minutes. I mean, I had a bulging disc, compressed end plate fractures, a really compressed L4, L5, S1 area, and the doctors wanted to operate. They were actually really keen and eager, like, hey, let's get in there, let's operate. I didn't quite know what they were going to do in there. It was very vague. They seemed excited and were like pushing this operation on me. And I said, no, I'm not going to do this. And I started to understand why that compression started to take place and how I could decompress the spine. Now, I'm going to give you 5 tools in this video that really helped me. I wish I knew them at the time. It took me much longer to figure them out. And over years, I got out of back pain, where I think if you're currently struggling with back pain, I can help you within 4, 8, and 12 weeks with some of these tools. Well, shall I say, you can help yourself with these tools. Now, I'm going to run through them step by step, and tools 4 and 5 are out there. They're very speculative, but trust me, they really help. So stick around for tools 4 and 5. I'm keeping you on a bit of a cliffhanger there. It's a tool to keep engagement. Honest with you guys there. But all of these tools are hugely valuable. So let's start with tool number 1, all right? The understanding that your glutes, your ass, your backside, that is supposed to take a lot of the load. And if you aren't correctly engaging and using your backside, your lower back takes a lot of the compression, right? So as we lengthen and unlock our backside, when we stand up and move, our hips sit behind us, our glutes are engaged, and our back is under less strain. If your glutes are short and tight, they're going to move your hips forward, and your lower back is going to be compressed. And you might now be bending over using a certain portion of your mid and lower back as your bum instead of hinging correctly at the hips. So to unlock those glutes, I'm going to give you a couple of tools right now, and this is how all of these are going to work. I'm going to introduce them and then give you some tools. We're going to go into a pigeon pose, but not all the way down and deep. I want us to just take this front leg, put it at 45 degrees, step the back leg behind, right? And just sit back into your glutes, look up, eyes forward, and feel as if you're going to now move forwards. And you're going to start to feel the sensation of your glutes working to drive you forwards. Now you can start to lift that back leg off the ground and hold, and then also pulse and move forwards. And this is unlocking, lengthening the glutes, and unlocking them, teaching them how to move again. Once you've done that both sides, you're getting strong in the holds, and over weeks and even months, you're going to get better and better and more stable in these positions where your glute can support you. Start by putting a lot of your body on the ground, back foot, back knee, and the hands, and then start taking things away as you get stronger until you can pulse and be stable right here. And that's your cue to start practicing more crawling. And you're going to notice as we crawl, our backside is engaging to move us forwards. Now, why is the crawl important? Well, that was the foundation of our movement. As babies, we first learned how to move crawling, then we got up, and you'll notice that kids, when they're young and they first start to stand and walk, they've got hips that sit behind them, and they walk this way, all right? Now, we don't have to go right back to walking like a baby, but we still need those hips slightly behind us. And you're going to see natural movers, athletes, indigenous tribes people, and kids, when they're still athletic, with these hips that sit behind them, long glutes. You're going to have the appearance of bigger glutes, and that's merely because the fibers of your glutes, the muscle fibers, are sitting lengthened and behind you. So that's what we want there. Unlock your glutes with that simple tool. You can always introduce the foam roller to lengthen those glutes further, but I'll add that later on. I just want to give you one tool for each of these keys. Right, so that's the glutes. Number 2, the shoulders and the upper back. When our upper back is free to flow and move the way it's designed to, there is less strain on the lower back. What happens for most people is this rib cage and upper back is getting locked. So if you want to twist and rotate, where is the demand being placed? More on the lower back now. So if you can free up that upper back and rib cage, there's going to be less strain on your lower back. You're going to move the way you're designed to. Right. So the one tool that I'm going to give you for the upper back is so simple. It's going to blow your mind, and I'm taking you out to a tree where you're going to hang out, literally hang. So if your grip is very weak and your shoulders are currently pretty fragile, then you're going to do a 2-arm hang and keep your feet on the ground. And we're going to be in this hang here where you can put your feet on the ground and then slowly lift your arms over time. Lift your feet over time so you have your whole body weight in your arms. And you're going to learn to swing side to side on some rings like this. You could obviously just do this on a tree, on a branch. That's just fine. A pull-up bar will be fine. I like the rings because they rotate and move. Right. But then what I really want you to progress to, guys, is being able to hang on one arm, lift your legs, and take your whole body weight on both shoulders, swing, breathe comfortably on both arms. I mean, 30 seconds is a really good target, but at first you're not going to be able to do that if your shoulders are all tight and bound up. Now, what's happening here, guys, is we're lengthening the lats. We're allowing those shoulders to do what they're designed to, have this complete hang. Okay. Awesome. So you're letting that palm turn out and that elbow rotate back. Okay. We don't want to stay in external rotation like this because that's keeping the lats, the teres muscle, and the chest all engaged. We want all of that to lengthen and the shoulder to sit back. Okay. If you've got scar tissue, you've had a previous injury on your shoulder maybe, then be gentle working your way into that and go from the 2-arm hang with your feet on the ground, slowly taking your feet away, then putting your feet back to introduce the single arm hang, and then eventually single arm hang without any support from your feet on the ground. Okay, so that's the shoulders and upper back. And in other trainings, once your lats have let go and your upper back is moving well, I'd introduce thoracic rotations, things like this. I'm just going to show you them quickly, but I'll introduce you guys to more and more of these. This is just briefly introducing those 5 tools. So, hips, lower back. When we use the glutes more, it decompresses, puts less strain on the lower back. As you unlock the upper back, so it can rotate and move, less strain on the lower back again. The lower back is designed to flex and extend, not so much rotate. But when your upper back isn't rotating as it's designed to, the lower back now has demand to rotate, and that's where we see slipped and torn discs take place. So avoid that by keeping your shoulders flowing and moving. All right, guys, tool number 3. This one's going to be a little bit out there, but this is unlocking your feet. Right, yes, your feet. The plantar fascia, the tissue on the soles of our feet, have these nerve endings where we sense and receive feedback from the ground. That area is deeply connected to the hips and lower back. There's a fascial connection as well as a nerve connection to the L4, L5, S1 area. So what happens here, guys, is when your feet receive feedback from the ground, your hips adjust so that you absorb the force of the ground correctly. And if you have nice long glutes and you have good awareness of the ground, then your hips will sit back and you'll absorb the force of the ground. If you don't have good feedback from the ground and your glutes are very short, what's going to happen? That foot's going to smack into the ground and that force is going up into the hip and lower back. There's no nice absorbing of the force. It's more of like an impact. And think of walking and running day after day, jumping, landing on your heels without good feedback from the ground, all that force is going into the hip and lower back. And no wonder it's in pain. So we need to unlock the feet. And this simple tool is going to help you do that. This is called the hand-foot glove. You're going to work your way towards being able to put a finger between each of your toes. You should comfortably be able to do this. And if you can't, you're just going to go slowly with it. And you're going to hug your palm to the sole of your foot. And you're just going to allow that squeeze of your hand on your foot to open up the bones and all the tissue between them of your feet. So these long bones in my foot here, the 5 of them, they're going to open up and widen. You're going to get more space in your toes. You can work your big toe around, twist your hand just a little bit. You might get some clicks. I don't know if you heard that. I had a bit of a click there. But this is very important to open up the tissue of your feet. You can do that hand-foot hug for about 3 to 5 minutes each day on each foot. Okay, I know that's a long time. There are other tools I'll give you guys like mobility balls, rolling out the plantar fascia, holding on any tight spots. I've got tons of other feet tools, but again, I'm just introducing 1 or 2 to you guys in this this piece of content, this little routine. Okay, so opening up the feet is going to help your hips understand what's coming at them and absorb the force of the ground. And over time, your back is going to get much healthier. All right, but we will get into that in the movement piece later on. Tool number 4. This is where it gets a little funky, is your breath. If you can learn to breathe correctly into your diaphragm, you can decompress the lumbar area. So I like to start the breath in a crawl because you've got the support of your hands, knees, and feet, 6 points of contact. You look up, allow your lower back to have a curvature, hips to sit back. Breathe in only through your nose. And feel like this is an entry-level cue, but feel like you are blowing up your belly as you breathe in and emptying your belly as you breathe out. And if you can get that, what you're going to notice is as you go, you might be all compressed and tight here, used to breathing into your chest, but as you learn to breathe into your belly, you're going to regain more of a lumbar curvature, which is natural. We want that. Hips to sit behind us, more of a lumbar curvature. Now, you can move to sitting in various positions and just continue to work on that breath, breathing into the belly. And when we come into Seiza, if you can handle this position, if this is uncomfortable for you, you're going to work your hips higher up by sitting on a pillow or folded towels. So go to a position that you can really be relaxed, and you're going to continue to breathe. Now, getting a little more advanced with the breath, you are going to hold your pelvic floor from the front and the back. So, the front and your proper pelvic floor, like your anus area, boom, pull those 2 in, okay? Yeah, you can tell I got a bit shy while I was talking about that, but essentially, like for a guy, you're going to feel like you're pulling your dick and balls in and then puckering with your bum, and you're going to hold that up. Now, don't let it tuck you under, but just hold those 2 gently. Keep your hips behind you, and then you're going to feel some tension in your lower abdominal area. Don't let it creep all the way up to the front side. Just feel some tension in your lower abdominals and into your back. And they form like a cup. That's the way I sense and feel it. There's this cup that you now breathe into. And as you fill, there's a bit more tension there. It's not everything completely relaxed and blowing in and out the belly. That's not what we want. We want a bit of tension from the pelvic floor and lower abdominals. And we breathe into this cup. And what you're going to notice is something shifts. As you learn to breathe there, you hold less tension in your shoulders and upper back, and that helps with that upper back rotation movement, and you get a nice curvature of your lower back. You also sit deeper into your glutes. So the other tools that I introduced, or points that I mentioned, the glutes, the upper back, this perpetuates and helps them. All right. So you're just going to learn to breathe there easy. Okay, you can use whatever techniques you like, guys. I just like a 5 count in, 3 to 5 count out, 3 to 5 count in, 3 to 5 count out. All through the nose, jaw set correctly. Boom. Nice and easy. So with the breath, starting in the crawl, then into something like Caesar, but you must be relaxed, learning to breathe correctly, pelvic floor tension, some lower abdominal tension, learning to breathe into the belly. Love it. So that's the breath piece. Guys, the final piece here that I'm going to talk about is movement mechanics. The way you move can compress your lower back. If you are heel striking, thrusting your hips forward, you've got all this tension on the front side and your spine doesn't want to move. Of course, your lower back is always receiving this tension and compression as you move around. And if you add intensity and you're cutting and turning, there's going to be even more strain there. Our typical ways of training, whether that's, deadlifts, clean swings, snatches, and squats, is all shortening us, teaching us to drive through the heels, become more heel dominant. All these planks and things we're doing to compress the front side are stopping our spinal movement, and without spinal movement, there's more compression right in that lower back area. L4, L5, S1 specifically takes a big beating. So, as we lengthen into the glutes, which we spoke about in the glute section, as we get the shoulders flowing and moving, as we breathe correctly into the belly, get our feedback from the ground, 0.3, breathing into the belly was 0.4. We can now, naturally just focusing on those 4 points, you'll see more rhythm and natural movement patterns show up. Okay, with elite sportsmen, people who live well, don't have pain well into their later years, you see certain movement behaviors. Straight feet, their feet land straight, hips reach back, head lined over the foot, nice flow, a bit of a swagger and movement of the shoulders and the arms. Okay, and that's what I want to teach you guys. Now, that might not come natural. You can go and practice it and walk, but what is going to help you with that is literally learning to crawl. Now, I briefly introduced that earlier, but learning to crawl helps us with those points. You see how the head is aligning over the front leg. The shoulders are flowing and moving. I have a nice curvature of my lower back. Boom, boom. My hips are back and behind me. And now, if I take this crawl to the walk, to the run, I'm now learning these behaviors. So, crawl, walk, run, crawl, walk, run, crawl, walk, run. You guys can play with this as a warm-up before you run or play sports or whatever you're going to do. Just do a few steps of the crawl, get it right. Step up to the walk, and then take off into a run. Okay, so if you really are struggling to learn that crawl, just think opposite arm, opposite leg. They step forward, opposite arm, opposite leg, step forward, step forward. You can even do one step at a time if you don't have much space. Other step at a time. Boom. You can build that up to your feet where you kind of think of the same thing, opposite arm, opposite leg, opposite arm, opposite leg. Right, you see, it looks a bit forced, but you're going to kind of hold, get used to these positions, and then get walking and running with that crawl in mind. And that's going to guide the way you move and take pressure off of the lower back. Do you see, with this nice lower back curvature, with this breath into the belly, with this movement of the upper back, glutes supporting me and loading, there's less strain and pressure on the lower back. Now, if you've been having lower back pain for ages and you even have some damage there, our body has the ability to heal over time. But you can't keep picking the scab over and over again and expect that healing to take place. Introducing this new way of moving and these movement patterns is going to stop the picking of the scab. So you really need to embody this way of moving day to day and stick with this for a long period of time. Stay away from compressive behaviors and ways of training that's going to put pressure on your lower back. Why? Because for a period of time, you need that area to heal. And stop picking the scab so it can heal. All right. Love it, guys. I hope that's helpful. Right? Like this, share it, subscribe to the channel. This is a new YouTube channel. This is one of my first real long form videos where I'm committing to giving you guys as much value as I can. So please support the channel, share it, and I'll see you guys soon. I'm going to be creating a lot of long form videos. I'm going to have a weekly schedule for sure. So look out for more of these. Try these tools out, save it, subscribe, and let me know how you get on. Love it, guys. We will chat soon.